All right. I want to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, oh boy, here we go. And what you're looking at on your screen is a meme or emoji, I guess you could call it. And the word there says perverse. Evil, evil, evil. Perverse means directed away from what is right or good. In other words, directed away from the scriptures, from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which really only pertains to the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. But this country, if you want to call it that, I use that term loosely, or this corporation, America, this big business, America, has prided itself on so-called Christian values from the inception of this country, that they are followers of the Bible. And we've been doing, beginning with the elder apostles of Great Millstone on down, we've been doing countless videos on, on just the immoralities, and the just the filthiness of this bird, America, and how what they claim to say is not according to the scriptures. Now there's scriptures we could go to that really apply to Jake, but we could apply it to Esau too, because whatever fell upon Jake is going to fall upon Esau and the other nations, pursuant to Deuteronomy 30:7, and on Esau's case, pursuant to Lamentations 4:21 and 22. So this country has just is already down the drain. It's circling the drain, but the very last circles inside of the drain itself. And the reason for this lesson, oh boy, here we go, is this news article that I just ran across. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy signs Bill S-1569, forcing New Jersey middle and high schools to begin teaching LGBTQ history by 2020 school year. So pretty much, when I saw that, I'm like, well, that's it. They're doing it out there in California. So New Jersey becomes the second state to actually endorse this, and this is actually law that these public schools have to teach this, the LGBTQ history by 2020. I'm gonna read the scripture and shalom to the Akim on the comment boards, and read the scripture by the brother Young Yahweh. 2 Ezra 15:6. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. And that's right, because the people that are running this society that claim to be so-called Christians are the wicked. Let's go from there real quick to Job 9:24. Lord's will, we're going to read into that article. But really, that's all we need to read. But, we'll read into it some more, Lord's will. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the people that are ruling the earth are the wicked. And who is in charge or control of the whole entire planet Earth? You guessed it, Esau, the so-called white man. The red Hebrew Edomites, as brothers have been calling them, which that's his true identity that they've been trying to get away from. And there's even Edomites coming out and saying that these so-called white people are Edomites, because it's evident, it's self-evident. And when you go through all the scriptures in the Bible and the different characteristics of Esau/Edom, they all fit the so-called white man. They don't fit the Arabs. They don't fit the Elamites, the so-called East Indians. They don't fit the Arabs. They don't fit the so-called Africans. They don't fit the Polynesian people. They don't fit any other people but the so-called white man. You know, when you go through all the different characteristics of Esau in the scriptures. All right. So it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. That's one of their favorite things to do, is cover up all the true images of the Heavenly Father, of Yahushua, his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, of the angels, of the people of the Lord, the Israelites, so on and so forth. If not, where and who is he? So if the so-called white man isn't doing these things, where and who is he? By a process of elimination, is only dealing with Esau, you know, the so-called white man. Now let's go to another precept, Isaiah 24:5. It says, the earth also is defiled. Matter of fact, let me start at 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away, because everything in the world is languishing, you know, because everything, the person that's ruling this world is so corrupt and so greedy that they're throwing the whole ecosystem of the world upside down in an uneven balance because of the greed and the want for money to, you know, to line their pockets. You know, they're destroying the earth, you know, and the earth is languishing, it's lacking, you know, because this is why there's not enough nutrients in the ground, you know, to be able to grow foods that'll be nutritious to our bodies, that will give us all the nutrients that we need so that we won't have any deficiencies. But seeing that this devil's so greedy and he keeps mining and he keeps planting, you know, he doesn't give the earth rest. He keeps taking the scavengers of the sea out of the sea. He keeps killing the scavengers of the earth to sell at, you know, in these different stores, and he just keeps destroying the earth. After a while, the earth is going to give in, and this is what's happening when you see these different tsunamis and different earthquakes and different so-called natural disasters. It's the earth rising up against Esau, you know, because this is what the Lord said would be happening in these last days. So it said, the earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. And that's dealing with Esau, you know, because they really don't have the mental capability to rule. I mean, they can build, you know, they research stuff, they check things out, but they are a destroyer. They're not a builder as far as building and maintaining the world as it's supposed to be maintained, because there's a strict guideline by what you should go by, and it's in the Bible. You have Native American, so-called Native American Indians, which are the tribe of Gad, which know certain techniques or certain things to do, you know, for the land, for the earth, and, you know, and how to properly conduct, you know, and treat the earth, because the earth is a living entity, you know. It has a spirit, you know, and this devil is misusing it, you know. So they're the haughty people of the earth, and they're in control, and they pride themselves in being so righteous and so knowledgeable. And you black people and you Latinos and all that, you could never run a society. Well, look at your society. Your society is turning against you. And the reason why you got control of the earth is because it was a blessing, going back to the sword and going back to how that's how you would get the earth. But technically, you don't know how to run a world. You don't know how to run an earth. You don't know how to govern anything, because you are a destroyer. You are not a mender. You know, you're not someone that heals. You're someone that destroys. You're like that cancer that gets more sugar and gets more aggressive. That's who you are. You are the cancer of the earth. You are the parasite of the earth. You know, and this is why the earth is mourning in the fashion that it is. So the earth also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws. There's a so-called there's a law known as a land Sabbath, where you would farm the land for 6 years, and on the 7th year you would let it rest. You wouldn't even eat the fruits that would grow out of it, if I'm not mistaken. There was even the fruits that came up out the ground. I don't even think you were supposed to even eat it. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't gone over that history in a while. But the point is that you were supposed to give the land rest for a whole year so it can rebuild the soil and the nutrients in the soil. But you don't do that because you're greedy. So you transgressed the laws, and that's just one. Change the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. So there's nothing that you could do to do the right thing. And this is why the Most High is going to destroy this place by fire, because he made a covenant in the beginning that he would not destroy the earth by water again. This is where you have the rainbow, and you took that rainbow, the Most High's covenant, a holy thing, and you turn it into a perverse thing with this LGBTQ nonsense. And you're passing laws, S1569 is right here, that by 2020 the curriculum of the schools in the public schools in New Jersey have to teach about LGBTQ history. If that is not perversity, I don't know what is. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read this real quick. Matter of fact, let me read a little bit of this article. It says a Board of Education shall include instructions on the political, economic, and social contributions of persons with disabilities and lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. But what about all the diseases that they've contributed? Should they mention that also in that study? In an appropriate place in the curriculum of middle school and high school students as part of the district's implementation of the core curriculum content standards, New Jersey Students Learning Standard 1, 2 in social studies. You see? So, and then you see this devil here got the flag, the homo flag, and this is supposed to be the rainbow, which is supposed to be a holy thing. And this is dated February 4th, 2019. Today, which is the year of Karagma, today is February 12th, 2019. So that was 8 days ago, something like that. It says middle schools and high schools in New Jersey will be required to teach about the historical contributions of people in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community beginning in the 2020 through 2021 school year. And notice the longer that America is in power, the more the morals drop. This is why this is known as a valley, a lowland, low in morals, the valley of the shadow of death. And all they're doing is heaping up more coals upon their head for this final destruction. So hey, it's a good thing that Esau's doing this, because this is gonna even cement his future even more. It says, I was born and raised in the state of New Jersey and have been appalled watching the Garden State's long, slow slide into frenetic, progressive liberalism under their very liberal governor, Phil Murphy, not to be outdone by New York to the north and east with their Hitlerian, life-ending, baby-killing laws. New Jersey has decided to force all statewide public schools to begin indoctrinating school children by teaching the history of the LGBTQ in America, which stands for lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transsexuals, and queers. Queers and steers. All right. And they even quoted the scripture, Romans 1:24-25. Wherefore the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. So be true. And this scripture technically really only applies to the Israelites, because that's who the Apostle Paul was speaking about. He was speaking about those Israelites that did not like to retain the knowledge of the Most High in their mind. So he gave them over into this reprobate mind, and reprobate way of thinking, where a man looks at another man lusting after that man, or a woman looks after another woman lusting after her, like a man would look at a woman and say, damn, she got a nice rack. And here it is, you got a woman looking at another woman and say, damn, she got a nice rack. She got a nice booty, Well, she should be looking at another man in that fashion, or in that manner. Just like a man should be looking at another woman, or a woman, in that fashion. But here it's all like the brother put, GMS faithful unto death, Micah 2:10, a good scripture. It says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. And this is why we tell these Israelites out here, these other Israelite groups, they're trying to build communities, here in America. Look, America was not set up to be a place where you become an entrepreneur. You know, if you happen to have a business, that's one thing. But if you're trying to establish a business for the whole nation, the Lord is establishing a business for the whole nation. The scriptures say that there remaineth a rest for the people of the Lord. This is not our rest. This place is polluted, you know, and it's getting worse by the day. Matter of fact, let me go to that scripture the brother posted, and let me look up that word polluted. Micah chapter 2. And you got to remember, you know, brothers have young children that are going to school, you know, newborns, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and they're being affected by looking at this shit, you know. And this is what these devils are doing. They're getting them early. They're pushing this in middle schools and high schools, but you even have fucking drag queens going to kindergarten schools and reading books to little children, you know, and pushing that whole energy of this transgender homosexual way of living, which is perverse to the Most High. So it says polluted, H2930, tama'ah, and I've seen this word before. To be unclean, become impure. See, and this is not pure. To teach this history, the only thing you should be teaching about this history is that it's impure, it's immoral, it causes diseases, it's against the Most High. You know, it'll bring you to destruction. That's what you should be teaching. And there's no way that 2 men and 2 women can produce children. The Lord said that he created man and female, and he told them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the face of the earth with you know, in so many words, with people, you know. So it says to be or become unclean sexually, religiously, ceremonially. In this case, sexually, you know, and that's a filthiness, you know, to defile oneself, be defiled, and that's what happens. You know, and this is why the Apostle Paul wrote that letter to the Romans. He mentioned that at the beginning, because you had a lot of those Israelites back then that were into homosexuality and lesbianism, you know. But then he said that some of them changed, you know. He said, for so were some of you. So they were, the Lord had mercy on them to where he opened up their mind enough to be able to get away from that, you know, and stop doing that, you know. So let's read on a little bit more. It says history based on sexual preferences, gays and lesbians, and history based on the mental illness of people thinking you can change your gender is no real history at all. It should be at all. If anything, it will be revisionist history designed to make the abnormal and the ungodly seem acceptable. And that's what it is. They're catering to these people that are into this, but not understanding that the Most High gave them over to that spirit, you know. And they don't understand that, but it keeps enabling these people to keep doing it instead of stopping that, you know. And there's even I believe there's laws, or they were planning on putting laws into where if you convert a homosexual, you could be put in jail. I mean, I don't know if those laws are out there or if they exist, but I remember at one time they were saying that if you convert a homosexual or something like that, you will face fines or jail time or something like that. You know, there's laws to protect this filth. Coincidentally, it also makes a great recruiting tool to gather impressionable young minds to the LGBTQ movement. You know, because this is why they are pushing that, because in them pushing that, they can get this particular a group of people, LGBTQ, to pay taxes, and you know, it's another form of these devils adding these people to the pot, so to speak, so that they can make money off of them. And these motherfuckers make money. Them homos and them lesbians, they make money. You know, they got the top paying jobs, you know. So it says, finally, let me again repeat my prediction. At some point, the LGBTQ will be forced by their own doctrine to bring pedophiles into their big tent and begin the process of badgering and intimidating all America to accept that as normal. If, as they say, all love is love, then the pedophile relationship between middle-aged men and teenage boys would qualify for protected status on their platform. And if you don't think that day is right around the corner, read this. You know, they give you a link. I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna read some scriptures, and possibly, you know, if the Spirit allows, keep going back and read a little bit more of this. But we don't really have to read anymore. But I'm gonna just read a little more, just to show you the perverseness of this place. NJ or New Jersey schools now forced to teach LGBTQ history. They're forced to do this. It's not a choice. Just like when right now the microchip is by choice. It's gonna come a time and they're gonna make it mandatory. It says from Fox 11, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy signed a bill Thursday that would mandate a change to the curriculum. The bill S-1569, I don't know if you could click on that, was drafted by several state legislators. A board of education shall include instructions on the political, economic, and social contributions of persons with disabilities and lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in an appropriate place in the curriculum of middle schools and high school students as part of the district's implementation of the core curriculum content standards, New Jersey Student Learning Standards 1, 2, and social studies. Ain't that about a bitch? All right, so it says the law does not apply to private schools. It also includes a requirement to include education on Americans with disabilities. Civil rights advocacy group Garden State Equality heralded the new law. So notice they had to add the disability, you know, somebody with disability to you know, because if they would have tried to do it maybe just with the LGBTQ, a lot of people would have probably rejected it. But now you're being instructed and taught about people with disabilities and how to deal with them, and, you know, blase. Revelation 11:8, and their dead bodies, meaning the dead bodies of the Israelites, spiritually dead, shall lie in the street of the great city. This great city is America, Babylon the Great, which will be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction and the lasers that are coming from the chariots, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Why? Because they practice the same exact things that they were doing back in Sodom and back in Egypt. Because Egypt had a melting pot. You had many different people from different nations that were there. You know, you had the Israelites that were in captivity there, just like here. And it's also known as spiritually as Sodom because they practice the same homosexual, transgender, transsexual, perverse things that they did, you know, in Sodom and Egypt. It says where also our Lord was crucified, meaning that the Lord was crossed out here. They put up the image of the other white meat, you know, Serapis crispy / Caesar Borgia, Caesar Borgia. A little levity. Isaiah chapter 19, I'm gonna go straight to the point. And 14, the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. Because when you go back to the book of Romans, the first chapter, right, and you go down to the here, the 24th verse, it says, wherefore the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. So be true. For this cause, the Most High gave them up to vile affections, which it was dealing with Jake. But Esau said that they believe in the Bible, right? So this whole place has just been given over to reprobity, if that's even a word, to reprobate them. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature, because two women cannot get each other off, you know, because a woman, I don't care how much licking you do. I mean, I know it's a Sabbath, Salaki, brother, but I gotta be blunt. I don't care how much licking you do. A woman needs penetration, and another woman does not have anything to penetrate her with. And this is why you have to go get a dildo, you know. It says, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burn in their lust one toward another, men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat, which is what? Death. You know, because eventually that brings about disease. Now, are they going to teach that in this curriculum about the diseases that these filthy birds are spreading? You know, so going back to Isaiah 19:14, and the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof. So everywhere you see in America is just being totally corrupted. It went from being the so-called beacon of light of Christians and Bible believing, Bible thumping people, to a bunch of homosexuals all over the place. They took they took prayer out of school. They took the 10 Commandments, down out of certain buildings, and now they're pumping laws into these different state school laws, that you have to teach about LGBTQ, which you already see the effect that this is having on the young population. A lot of them are homosexuals. A lot of them are transgenders. A lot of them are following this filthy lifestyle because it was introduced to them. It was what's the word I'm looking for? It was suggested to them. And they know these devils know that the young minds are very impressionable. So whatever you teach them to do or to be, that's what they're going to be. This is why the scriptures say, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it. It says, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. And this is what's happening, man. America is like a drunken man staggering in his vomit, thinking that he got it all together. But here it is, he got fucking all kind of shit all over his face and his nose, vomit all on him. He almost died from asphyxiation from the vomit, but he got it all together. All right, so let's move on. This is the book of Isaiah 3:9. The show of their countenance doth witness against them. And you can see them homos, man. They be having that perverse, that foul look to them. And they declare their sin as Sodom. See, they hide it not. And these homos, they are proud. They are proud. And they're becoming prouder because of laws like this that are being put into the books. This is why I started off the lesson with this perverse, this meme or whatever you call it, emoji. Evil, evil, evil. Perverse means directed away from what is right or good. So Isaiah 3:9, the show of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom, they hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. And the Lord is going to destroy America for that. Matter of fact, Brother Itazawam had put that precept up. Matter of fact, I'll get it here. I'll bring it over here. Revelation 21. That was the good precept. Revelation 21:8. It says, but the fearful and unbelieving and abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And you best believe that homosexuals are in there too. Because Lord's will, we're going to read about it in the book of Genesis about Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. So that was it on that. Moving on. 2 Peter 2:1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And you're going to even have these so-called pastors in the church that are going to be pushing this, when they should be fighting against this. Because in the scriptures condemn this. But you know why they can't do it? Because they're under the 501c3 charter. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. It says, for if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, because the Lord said that the wickedness of man became great, and the Most High repented that he created man. He's looking at it and said, these they became but then what he do? He brought the flood upon them. But before he brought the flood, he set up Noah to build the ark with his sons and to prophesy against these ungodly individuals. So that when the Lord brought the flood upon them and destroyed them, they had no excuse. It says, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow. See, so the Lord condemned them. He didn't bless them. He didn't give rights to them. He didn't say you have to teach in the schools school curriculum about the struggle and about the contribution of the LGBTQ society. No, he delivered them. He made them into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that should after that Salakia, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. Now let's go to that word ensample. Let's see what that say. Maybe that's said right or law for them, right? Ensample or example.
Strong's G 5262. Upadagma.
Upadagma. A sign suggestive of anything, delineation of a thing, representation, figure, copies, something to imitate, an example for imitation of the thing to be imitated, for a warning of a thing to be shunned, which means to be avoided. And this here, what's going on here is to be avoided. This is to be shunned, because this is a filth, and they're pushing it on these young minds because they know that the youngsters' minds are very impressionable, and they're at that point now where they're discovering their sexuality. You know, they're starting, you know, to get those the hormones jumping. So what better way to direct them than direct them in the wrong way? What these devils are doing into the LGBTQ society, you know. So they could be all right for a dude think that he could have sex with men and women. He could be bisexual in their eyes. The Lord gonna blow this place. He gonna blow this place down. He gonna tear this place apart. He's gonna smoke this fucking place, and turn the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemn them with an overthrow, making them an ensample to those that should those that after should live ungodly. Genesis 19, and we're just gonna go straight down to the point. Matter of fact, we'll start at 1 and then we'll jump around. Genesis 19 and 1, and this is the account of Sodom and Gomorrah, going way back during the time of Abraham, when Lot was living in this land. And the reason why Lot chose this land over here, because they were by the water. It was a lot of greenery, you know, and he went towards the plenteous land, you know, but the land that Abraham got was also plenteous, you know. But anyway, Genesis 19 and 1, and there came two angels from Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold, now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. See, and he didn't understand that they were angels, right? But he knew that, no, my lords, you don't want to be out in these streets at night, because these faggots are bold out here. These homos are bold, you know. It says, and he pressed upon them greatly, because he understood the filthiness that was going on. Matter of fact, where scripture is that? Just bear with me 1 second. Let me just go back here. We got here. Okay, we're there. So let me go back to this one. Just bear with me 1 second. It might be the book of Jude. Is it the book of Jude? I don't think it's Jude. Let's see. Nah, it's got to be Peter's. In Peter somewhere. Second Peter. Oh, so I was there. 2 Peter 2 and 7, I should have read down. It says, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, for that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing vex his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So pretty much, you know, he understood what was going on at night out there. You know, hey, they say the freaks come out at night, right? So he was trying to get them, pretty much trying to get them into his house, to get them away from that madness. So it says, and he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him and entered into his house, and he made them a feast and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they laid down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house around, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. So you had a bunch of old homos, a bunch of young homos from all over that city Sodom coming over, and they surrounded Lot's house. You know, like Elder Pastor Gabar says, you know, you gotta envision all these homos, you know, probably had all kind of lipstick and makeup on and eyelashes and dressed, you know, in a women's apparel, you know, and surrounding all the whole house. And meanwhile, Lot, the angels and Lot's two daughters and their husbands or their men were in the house. It says, and they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men? Fucking homos, man. And there should be a scene in a movie, man. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us that we may know them, you know, so that they can have sex with them. A bunch of homos, man. It says, and Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him. So Lot went out there. See, they already knew who Lot was, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. See, so how come he didn't say, well, you know, there's a law, you know, I mean, you know, if you court them, you know, if you talk to them, you know, maybe they'll come out and be with you. No, man. He said, do not so wickedly, you know, and when he said that, check out their response. Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And this is why he urged them to come into his house so that he can protect them from these sodomites, from these hoes out here, right? And they said, stand back. Oh man, these homos are bold, man. They said to him, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee? So these homos was talking all kind of shit, man. There was some bold Hamitic homos, man, you know. And they said again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now we will deal worse with thee. That's a lot, brothers. But this is some crazy shit, man. This is men getting all upset, man, and getting pissed off because they want to get that other man so they can pop them. Tell you, man. Then with them. So in other words, after they finish with the men, they're gonna deal. They're gonna deal with you. You know, fucking lowlifes, man. And they press so upon the man, even Lot. That's how demonic and filthy them spirits was on them. They was urgent. You know how like you see a fine ass woman and you're like, damn, man, I gotta get with her. And you like persistent, and she might turn you down, but you still, you know, persistent and coming after until she finally gives in. Well, that's how these homos were for the angels. And they said, after we deal with them, we're gonna come back and deal with you. But you're gonna get messed up worse. And came near to break the door down. These homos was that homo spirit was so flared up in them that they broke the motherfucking door down, man. It says, but the men put forth their hand, meaning the angels, and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut to the door. So they pulled him in the house and shut the door, right? And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness. So the angels blinded them, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. So these homos, they were still they were blind, but they were still trying to get at these angels, man. So that show you that's a filthy spirit, man. That's what the Lord said he will set a perverse spirit in the midst of Babylon. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters and whatsoever thou hast in the city? Bring them out of this place, for we will destroy this place. See? So they were sent there on a mission. And Abraham knew that they were sent on a mission because Yahushua was telling him, you know, and we believe that was Yahushua was telling him that the Lord is going to destroy that place. And that's why he kept saying, Lord, you know, will you not destroy it for 50 or lack 5 or if they lack 10, you know, down to 10, because he wasn't praying for those homos. He was really didn't want the place to be destroyed because he didn't want his nephew Lot to be destroyed. This is why it says that he prayed for the Sodomites. He didn't pray for them. He didn't want the Lord to destroy that place because of Lot and his family. Because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord. So all of this stuff that's going on in there the Lord is constantly hearing about it. And the Lord said he's of purer eyes and to behold iniquity. So the same way that the Lord was looking down on Sodom and Gomorrah and the other 5 cities, and there was a particular day where he's going to destroy them, he was letting them do all that wickedness, the pedophilia and the zoophilia and popping each other, men with men, women with women, you know, wife swapping and all that madness, you know. And the Lord said there's a particular day where I'm going to send my angels down there. They're going to get Lot and his family out of there, and they're going to destroy it. They're going to get busy. And that's the same way the Most High got his eye on America. The Lord got his eye, his scope on America. He got the scopeo out on America. And the Lord is going to snipe this place. It says, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of the place, for the Lord will destroy the city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. So they were like, so come on, man, stop playing around, you know. They're probably looking at him, you know, like he was joking. But he wasn't joking. He was serious, dead serious. And that's why they died, because they didn't believe him. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, because Lot was still lingering around, you know, just, you know, moseying around, you know. So the angels had to kind of push him, you know, shove him, you know, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. See, because the city was about to be consumed in iniquity. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand and upon the hand of his wife. See, so the angels had to physically grab them, right? And upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth and set him without the city. So they had to actually grab him by his hand and pull him out, because he didn't want to leave, you know? And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon, it says, and it came to pass when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. Why? Because the Lord was going to cause fire to come down and destroy that place. You know, nuclear fire that he caused to come together and split the different atoms and different elements in the atmosphere and rain down fire upon Sodom and Gomorrah. It says, and Lot said unto the men, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found great, if thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die, because you know you have wild beasts and all that. So he said, behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow the city for which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. But eventually this place got destroyed, because remember, he and his daughters ended up in the mountains anyway. And the scriptures tell you that the Lord destroyed all 5 cities. It says the sun was risen upon the earth, which when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. So this was an actual thermonuclear destruction from the heavens that came down upon all those cities and fucked them up, you know. And you had them homeless probably running down the street, you know, on fire, man. Literally. Oh man. It says, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. So she was running, you know, he was moving, his daughters were moving, and his wife was behind him, and she turned around and looked back. And she didn't look back just to see the destruction. She looked back because they had great possessions. Remember, the Lot's servants were fighting with Abraham's servant because they had so much substance that you know they needed to take turns to feed them and water them, and there was a big fight because there wasn't enough room for them. So Lot had great substance, and this is why she looked back. This is why Yahushua said, take no thought, don't take anything, don't look back, don't go back to your house and grab anything. Remember Lot's wife. See, because they had great substance, and she looked back because she wanted to get those great substances, and it ended up costing her life. It says, And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord, and he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. And this is how the other nations are going to see America being destroyed. But the difference today is that they're going to be way over on the other side of the world and are going to see it because of these satellites, you know, and the signals that are going to be sent, you know, just like when they were watching in Saudi Arabia and Algeria, and, you know, all them different places out there in the west in the eastern world. They were watching the two towers burning, you know, but they're going to see America burning. It says, and it came to pass when the Most High destroyed the cities of the plain, that the Most High remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt. See, and Lot went up out of Zoar, see, and dwelt in the mountain. Why? Because the devastation was so bad that they had to leave. And his two daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, and he and his two daughters. So he eventually left there, and eventually all five of those cities were destroyed. All right. So this is what, as an example to them that afterwards should live ungodly. But here it is. You got Esau that said, no, yeah, we got the Bible. Yeah, that happened. But don't forget, you gotta teach in the school curriculum S1569 to force New Jersey middle and high schools to begin teaching LGBTQ history by 2020 school year. All right. It goes on to say the law does not apply to private schools at all. It also includes a requirement to include education on Americans with disabilities. Civil rights advocacy group Garden State Equality heralded the new law. It's critical that our classroom highlights the achievement of LGBTQ people throughout history. Our youth deserve to see how diverse American history truly is, which is bullshit. They're just trying to get the youth to accept being this way. It says, and how they can be a part of it one day too, said Executive Director of Garden State Equality, Christian Fuscarino. I'm thankful to Governor Murphy for making New Jersey the second state in the nation to have a law promoting LGBTQ exclusive curriculum. It says California was the first state to require the LGBT curriculum mandated. Read more. You could go here, you know, if you want to read more. All right. And that's pretty much it. And it goes into something else, you know. So pretty much, you know, this is the article. I put it in the description box. I got a couple more precepts. Deuteronomy 32 and 30. How shall one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them and the Lord has shut them up? And this is dealing with Israel, right? But now today, as you read on down, this part here applies to Esau. For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemy themselves being judges. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, see, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter, because they are a bunch of homos, you know, by nature. All right. Isaiah 13 and 1. And this is why we're out here speaking and teaching, you know, about the devastation and the destruction of America, spiritually known as Sodom. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, which the high mountain is America, and the banner is the Bible. Exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, tell them off. Tell them that what they're doing is off, is wrong. They're off. All right. Yup. That they may go into the gates of the nobles. See, and they want to stop this because what we're telling them is offensive. But what they're doing is offensive to the Most High. This is the same exact thing that got Sodom and Gomorrah clipped, and those other cities. They got them clipped. It says, I have commanded my sanctified ones, which are the prophets. I have also called my mighty ones to mine for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. So what I'm going to do is, you brothers can read the rest. I'm going to jump down to the verse 17. Matter of fact, I'm going to jump down a little further than that. Go straight to the point. Isaiah 13:19. And Babylon, which is America, Babylon the Great, the glory of kingdoms. See, because America is the glory of all these different kingdoms. The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, because this is where the Illuminati, which back then the Chaldee were the wise men of Babylon, today they would represent, you know, the international bankers and those you could say like so-called scholars and top witches, you know, that have the knowledge of all, you know, pretty much the knowledge of wickedness You could call it that. So it says, so Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, because this place is going to go out the same way that Sodom and Gomorrah went out. And ancient Babylon did not go out that way. And I'm going to show you that this is also pertaining to Esau. Let's go from there real quick to Jeremiah 49:7. Concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman, is counsel perished from the prudent, is their wisdom vanished. Now let's jump down to the 17th verse. Also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. Ain't nobody doing that right now. Who's doing that? Going by hissing at the plague dance. You know, they done got fucked up, you know? Ain't nobody doing that. It says, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, because America, Babylon the Great, which is the city of Edom, you know, the capital of Esau's kingdom, is going to be destroyed the same way that Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, and people are going to hiss at it and be like, damn, look at that, look at that place, look what happened to them. And I'm sure that back then the people that were around that saw what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, they were like the same thing, like, damn, you know. It says, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, no man shall abide there, neither shall the Son of Man dwell in it. And the ancient Edomites in the land of Syria, in the land of Edom, were not destroyed by thermonuclear destruction as Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. So this is letting you know that Edom, Babylon are all interconnected. When you go to Psalms, the 137th chapter. So I'll read this again, Isaiah 13:19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Why? Because the sins of America have come into mind in the sight of the Most High. He's seeing it. He's tired of it, and now he's about to do something to it. Let's see, Revelation 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. That's dealing with the chariots, when the elect are raised up into the chariots, that you be not partaker of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. What plagues? The plagues of the nuclear missiles, the same way that Sodom and Gomorrah was plagued. The same way that Sodom and Gomorrah was plagued. It says, let's move on. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High had remembered her iniquity. So the Most High is seeing all of this, and he's remembering everything that these devils have done since they came to the shores of America, to this side of the world, the Western world, and renamed it the New World. You see? So all these things are coming into the Lord's mind. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. And this place will be wonderfully and masterfully destroyed by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So going back to Isaiah 13, it says, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, which was by fire, which we just read. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, because there won't be nothing here except for the stones of emptiness. If you want to read more about that, you can read the book of Isaiah, the 34th chapter. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, because you have Ishmaelites here in America that have their homes here, that live here, actually live here and make money and send money back to their country. So they're not going to be pitching their tent here or their dwelling here anymore. Neither shall the shepherds make their fold there, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there. Why? Because it's going to be totally devastated and destroyed. And these are the only animals that will be able to live here. And just to show you how the Lord feels about America and about the morals that they hold, you know, they lie to the world, say that they're Christians, but they're nothing but a bunch of freaks and pedophiles and homosexuals. And their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And their time is near to come, and their days shall not be prolonged. This place has to go down. Has to go down. We got a scoffer in here. Who we got in here? All right, I don't see probably a. All right, well, anyway, I think that was pretty much it. Jude, we read that already. Matter of fact, no, let's read that. Jude 1 and 7. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire, because we're still reading about that to this day. And that fire burned for a long time, the same way it's going to burn for a long time in America. And that smoke and the fire is going to blot out the sun. You won't be able to see the sun over here, because it's going to be so. You got to remember, you got, what is it, 5,000 square miles of land and elements all burning. No, it's gonna be something, man. It's gonna be something. So pretty much that's it. You know, I didn't have a title, so first thing that came to mind when I about to write the title, I was just gonna put various topics, but it just the term "oh boy" came into my mind. Here we go. So that's what I labeled it. So with that, I hope you brothers have been edified. I put this here in the description box, and there's other articles you could click to from here that go into it even more if brothers want to get into it some more. So with that, I hope you brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say